Hello YouTube. In this video, we're going to focus on drawing the hair. Okay, I'm just going to start off here with a 2H pencil because I want to kind of add a little more sketch details as to where the locks are because I'm going to focus a lot on preserving light space for the curls, where he has a lot of highlights on top of the curls. So I'm just going over some of that I've already done and adding a few more lines. These are just kind of reminders as to where the light areas are going to be. So that's all I'm doing here, and I'm going to go ahead and speed this part up. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just lay down a little bit of charcoal, powdered charcoal, as a base, just to kind of eliminate most of the white underneath the hair, because it is dark hair. And I'm going to take a Q-tip and just start applying it. Okay, now I'm going to start drawing over my little hair base here using a soft charcoal pencil just to get all the dark area put in there first. And you can see that I'm just applying it to my existing lines, and then I'm going to look for all the dark areas of the reference photo, and I'm going to draw pretty much in the direction that I see the hair is going, even though by the time I'm done, those areas are really going to be solid black. But, it gives a sense of flow and direction, even if maybe, when you first look at it, it just looks just plain black to you. There is a sense of direction that I guess when the final product is complete, it comes across, although it may not be obvious initially. So that is why I go ahead and knowing that I'm going to darken all this and blur it in and blend it in and so forth, I always like to draw in the direction that I see the hair is moving. If you'll notice also that the base coating that I did, the base layer with the charcoal powder, I also applied it in the direction of the locks of hair and so forth, so that it conveys this direction. And I hope you can see where that just even the charcoal powdered base looks like a blurred head of hair. So that's what I like to do. There are many ways to skin a cat. And I'm in no way advocating harm to animals here when I say that. But there's many approaches to, getting hair drawn, and mine is definitely not the only one or the best one by far. It's just how I ended up drawing hair, and I'm sharing, how I do it. But I'm sure there are better ways to do it, and that's part of your journey, is to experiment and watch a lot of videos, read a lot of books, whatever the case may be, and keep practicing and just practice. And sometimes I end up with a really good set of hair. Sometimes I end up with not so good set of hair. So it depends on how much you do it, and sometimes how things just fall in order. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and use this soft pencil to draw into the areas that are what I believe the darkest, and then I'll be going over and over and over again several times. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this part up. Okay, so I'm continually adding some dark areas, continue to blend, add some more dark, blend. And then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start putting in some highlights before I go back to putting in more dark again. So I'm going to use an eraser here and just kind of look for areas on the reference photo where there are highlights. Not looking for perfection at this point, just kind of marking the certain landmarks that have the highlights. You can cut this eraser down to make a little wedge, little slivers, makes it easier to do the fine lines. But right now I'm just going for the big bulky areas right now, and then I'm going to switch to much finer point erasers in a moment. Here's a pen eraser. Can make finer lines. I think it's called a tough stick or something like that. And you can also take an X-Acto or something and cut a sharp edge on it. And whenever you see me going down with that eraser, I'm cleaning it after each removal. I'm just going down on a cloth and I'm just cleaning it, or I'll clean it on my finger or whatever. And so I'm just kind of taking out some of the dark charcoal where the areas are actually lighter. You can start to see little by little the hair coming out, the locks of hair. This is far from being done, but you have to just do this layer by layer. And I was careful not to add too much charcoal in the areas that had the highlights to begin with, because you could get to a point where you overwork the hair. I've done that many times where you've add, removed, and you get to a point that it just looks really overworked and kind of a mess. So I wanted to make sure that that I didn't do that by leaving certain areas still open rather than filling them in. But I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to find little areas of highlight that I see in the reference photo. And then I'll come back in with a dark charcoal. Usually I'll come in with a hard charcoal when I want to put some details or I want to draw into the highlight areas. But right now I'm still working on highlights, so I'm just taking a little bit off with the eraser pens, and I'm blending it down because I don't want just white paper shining through even on the highlighted areas. And it also allows some of the midtones to show up, and then I can go back with the eraser and lighten part of that blended area to bring out the highlights even more. So I'm still working on taking out highlighted areas. And at some point I'm going to end up going to a even finer eraser that I have, which is the Tombow Zero. I'll bring that out in a moment. Right now I'm just taking care of the bigger areas that I can do with this stick. And here you can see that I'm putting in small details of highlights using my Tombow Mono Zero eraser pen. And I'll be bringing out highlights in various areas with this. And it's just, you go back and forth, you add in dark, you take out some, you blend some. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up as well as I continue to take out some areas and bring out some of the highlights and then darken around there to show where the darkened areas are.